traditionally the most chauvinistic of the cinematic forms, and it's quite extraordinary that there should be actually a lady superhero of the martial arts. Even more extraordinary that Hong Kong's #1 lady fighting star is actually from America. She is quite extraordinary, unique, and she's here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Cynthia Rothrock. In the wake of Bruce Lee's passing, thousands of people all over the world have either tried to be the new little dragon or have looked for somebody to fill his shoes. Actually, somebody in stilettos has done the job, and she actually comes from America. Fate can be cruel. She has a name that hardly anybody in the Far East can pronounce, but she is nonetheless Cynthia Rothrock. And having survived your seminar, I'm here to talk to you. First of all, why is it we haven't got any lady action stars in the West? And the East is even more chauvinistic, and yet they have all these lady action heroes, of which you are the first and foremost. Why are they so hot on lady fighting stars?
I don't know. I think maybe in the West they tried it and it never worked, and I think the reason for that is they went the wrong way. They tried to maybe have, you know, the female that's exploitative, you know, and like the sexual aspect that couldn't really fight and just kind of look good. And usually it went into a real low-budget type film that didn't go over, but I don't think anybody has really tried it where, you know, you have a woman hero that she really can do, you know, martial arts and plus act. So that's what I'm hoping, you know, to try to break open that barrier and get involved in a whole different type of character.
Now, when you first started your career, you were a teacher and a forms competitor in America. At that stage, did you have conceptions about what it was like to make Hong Kong movies? And how was that different to the reality when you actually got to do it?
Well, I wasn't sure. When I was hired to come over and do my first movie, I thought they were going to do period films. I thought they were going to put a black wig on me and have braids, and I'd be in a Chinese outfit, you know, and when I went over there, the first thing they talked to me is that, oh, it's American clothes, you know, we could wear that. And I thought it was like Hollywood. I thought that when you hit, you know, it's all camera angle. You don't really make contact. But over there, it's totally opposite. You have to hit as hard as you can, and you get hit as hard as you can. And I said, well, how come, you know, why do you do it that way? And they said, because the people have seen action pictures all their life. You know, we're talking an industry that's full of action. And that they can tell if you're not hitting hard, and they don't like it. So I was really shocked on that aspect of that there.
Well, your first film, I think, was Yes, Madam. That wasn't the first one you saw. We saw some other one, and then that was released.
Yeah, that was the first picture that I did.
And that must have been learning on the job then, because you were basically
completely. It was learning for everything. It was learning for fighting, for camera angles, for acting. Although previous to that, I used to host a TV show up in San Jose, California. You know, so I was a little familiar, you know, with working with the camera. But it was kind of like on-the-job learning experience for me.
There are two major directors you've worked with, Yun Kuei, who directed No Retreat, No Surrender, and No Retreat, No Surrender 2, and One Fury, and actually directed other films as well.
Right.
And Sammo Hung, who you worked with on Shanghai Express. How would you compare these two great martial arts directors in their styles? What are they like?
Well, it's tough. They're both, like you said, they're both great, and they have, I think Yun Kuei is a lot harder on me. Where Sammo is a little bit more protective. He watches to make sure you don't get hurt, and I think Yun Kuei will make me try anything, no matter what the risk or the dangers involved. You know, and like it's funny, when I was shooting the Blonde Fury, like he had Jeff Falcon fighting me, and he'd go, now hit her as hard as you can. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And then he'd come over to me and say, don't worry, he's not going to hit you that hard. You know, so I mean, it's a different attitude like that. You know, but I think Yun Kuei really brings out the best in me because he knows what I could do. And maybe sometimes you think, oh, that looks so dangerous, I don't think I could do that. And he'll make you do it. You know, and I mean, you know, while you're doing this, you're getting hit in the face really hard. You know, you're thinking, oh, I'm not going to do this no more. This is it. But then when you see it on film, it's so great. You know, you're like, oh, you know, when am I doing my next picture? You know?
Have there ever been occasions when they've said, right, you're going to do this, and you've looked at it and said, no, I'm not? You know, have you ever stepped back from something that was too dangerous, or do they know where the barrier is between what you can do and what you can't?
Yeah, they pretty much know. I mean, sometimes like there were things that I would try, and you know, at least I'd give an attempt, and then if I couldn't do it, you know, one was like doing a spinning kick on a banister that's like 3 stories high, and I'd get up there and I was really scared. I was really scared to do that, and you know, so they said okay. So then what they ended up doing is they wired me for that, you know. So they'll try. I think if it's completely dangerous. Like I've seen a lot of stunts where the stuntmen get hurt. You know, that they won't have them try that. You know, something like at that degree.
Yeah. I have found in the Far East that you have to really prove yourself if you're a Westerner, particularly in coming to a Chinese field. Have you ever encountered any kind of closet racism, you know, towards you, and people perhaps feeling that the break that you've had to become the #1 Asian fighting heroine should have gone to somebody who was Chinese or Japanese?
No, I never came across anything at all like that. I think the reason is when I first started, especially, you know, with the stuntmen, that they saw that I could hit as hard as they could and that I could take whatever they could dish out. So I think I gained respect for them, you know, and the fact that, you know, I could hang in there and do everything, which I think they were quite surprised.
Right. Now you fought, you know, all the bad guys, the badasses of Hong Kong cinema, like Dick Wei and Billy Chow, and there was a Thai boxer you fought in Blonde Fury. You fought Sammo in Shanghai Express. Of all the people that you fought on screen, who would you least like to fight off screen if it was came down to it?
The Thai boxer. Oh, he was a killer. He was a killer because you know, they just train. They just hit their forearms and their arms to trees and knees, and they're so deadly that even the stuntman in Hong Kong didn't want to work with him. He had to bring his training partner from Thailand to work with him. You know, and I was like, oh great. You know, the stuntman don't want him, and I have to work with him. And like, it was funny because every time I'd shoot him, we'd have a series of 8 moves, and he would hit me so hard he'd knock me out of the frame. And the director would be saying, stay in the camera, stay in the camera. And I'm going, I'm trying. I mean, this guy was so hard, right, that they made these metal arm protectors for me. So then I started fighting him, and then he was hitting the metal, and his arms were I can't take it. So they made a set of metal arm protectors for him, too. So we were fighting like metal on
like
metal,
Robocop,
you know?
too, was it?
Oh, it was funny, except you couldn't see them, but that's what, that's why our forearms look a little bigger than that. But he is definitely tough, and actually he was at that time the current Thai boxing champion for 7 years, and right after he finished the picture, he was going back to fight again.
Now, Blonde Fury was an interesting film. It was very much a change of pace, and you got to play more of a character kind of role in it. But there were what seemed to me to be a few continuity glitches in that, to put it mildly. I mean, it was mooted that perhaps for the poster you should have been in a James Bond pose with a hairdryer, because your hair does seem to change from frame to frame.
Yeah.
And you fessed up. Why was this?
Well, what happened there is when we were shooting Blonde Fury, we shot it, right? It took like about 7.5 months to shoot. And then I came back to America, and then I started shooting China O'Brien. Well, then they looked at it and they thought they wanted more fighting instead of story, you know, that they wanted a lot more fighting. So they brought me back for like 6 more weeks of fighting. But I couldn't cut my hair like to the other angle because I had to go back and do pickup shots for China O'Brien. So I said, well, this doesn't look the same. Well, that's okay. Nobody will notice.
The Alfred Hitchcock School of Filmmaking.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, that was kind of funny.
So to talk about the 3 films that we're going to be screening tomorrow then, we've got Shanghai Express, which is kind of an Eastern Western. I remember when we first met, you were telling me about when you were riding horses in Thailand. Yeah. Was it Thailand?
Yeah.
That was quite an experience.
Yeah. Oh. It was terrible. First of all, they had these huge monster horses, and I'm not really, you know, I can ride, but not great. And they were race horses. They didn't have people sit on them, so they weren't accustomed to having people sit on them. And everybody was practicing riding the horses except mine because he gets there late. You know, I said, great. So Samuel says, well, whatever you do, he goes, just hang on to the horse and don't fall off, because if you fall off, there's 100 horses behind you that's going to trample you, right? And I'm like, oh, great, that's really great to know, you know. So here I am, I'm petrified, I'm on this horse, and what it was is we all had to run up. Now they don't tell us this, right, but they have like about 20 fans on the side, and as the horses approach, they throw buckets of dirt in the fans, right? So it looks like you see all this big smoke, and then you see the horses trotting off. So all of a sudden we hit the dirt, and it was just like someone just took a handful of sand and threw it in your eyes. So here I am on the horse, I can't open my eyes, the horse can't open his eyes, right? And I'm like, I'm going to fall off because I can't see, you know, and your equilibrium is off, you know, when your eyes aren't there, you know, and I'm just bouncing around, I'm just saying, I can't fall off this horse, right? But everybody was like that, and we all had to land in a certain spot, right? Nobody was in their spot. I mean, people were up here, down here, down here. We did it about 20 times, right? And nobody could do it, right? Then they cut down the sand, the horses still wouldn't do it. Then we trotted in, because we were supposed to race in. We trotted in, and it took like a week, and it's like you just the film for like about 5 seconds, you know, all after that. But it was crazy.
And your big fight is at the end when you fight Sammo, and he does that great Bruce Lee impersonation. Have you ever had a case where you've been in the films and someone's been acting up, and you have to keep, obviously you're serious, you've got to keep a straight face. Is it hard sometimes with some of the comedians, or is it?
Yeah, it is. Actually, in the last picture I did, it hasn't been released yet. There was some really funny scenes in there, you know, and I had to really like bite my lip from laughing at the actor. It's quite funny.
The second film we're seeing tomorrow is Officer Wears Skirts, which was kind of an oddity because you know, since you've become a very big star, you're placed rather high in the billing and on the poster, but you're in it very briefly. And how did that film come about?
Well, actually what happened is that film, they already shot 3/4 of it, and I guess they weren't happy with the fighting. So they said, well, let's bring in Cynthia to add a little bit more to this picture. So it was just a really small part, but for somehow I got top billing, and I've seen posters saying, this is Cynthia Rothrock's greatest action picture, you know, according to me. You know, and it was fun, but actually they changed it a little bit and threw me in the beginning, and then I'm at the end.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I thought that there was... interesting because Jackie Chan produced that movie, and you've yet to work with him because I know in your book it says you've made Armour of God, and at one time you were going to be in.
Yeah, actually I had a contract to do Armour of God. I was supposed to be the bad person, the head of the cult that fights him in the end, and then what happened is things stopped production because that's when Jackie got hurt.
Right.
And then that's when they came with me to Above the Law. They said, well, we have this picture that, you know, would be better for you anyway.
Which was a starring part anyway.
Yeah, right, Above the Law.
So you didn't get to... Would you like to work with Jackie?
Yeah, I really would. I think it would be a great combination. I think, you know, people would really like to see that, like, you know, the male and the female. You know, whether it's... I think it would be good, like a good partner film, not so much working against him, but, you know, with him, some type of...
movie. And the main film, we announced China O'Brien. Sadly, the film company won't let us show China O'Brien. But instead of that, we're showing Blonde Fury, which is an interesting film in many ways. And the end sequence, I thought, was really remarkable because there's a problem with Hong Kong films that they've done the fight in the warehouse so many times. How do you make the fight in the warehouse different? And they've really gone to town. Was that hard to film, all that on the rope?
Oh yeah, it was very hard. And the main thing is when you see this rope, the hard part
Can you just describe the scene for the people?
Oh yeah, what it is actually a woman is trapped, she's captured by, you know, the bad guys, and there's this big, huge truck, and then they have it draped over so you don't know there's a truck in it, and then they have this white rope that goes like, you know, it's crisscrossed all the way from the ceiling up. It's pretty high. I don't know how high it is up there, but it's really high. And she's up on the top, and so they have me climb up the rope. And as I'm climbing up to get her free, all the stuntmen or all the fighters are coming up after me. So all this fight scene takes place on the ropes.
Right.
So it's unusual. I've never seen anything like it. But the thing is that there's so many accidents on that rope. One guy broke his ankle. Another guy, you know, messed his face up because that rope was so hard that when you just, like, it looks like it's soft and it's a cushion, but when you land on it, it's like rope burn right away, and it was like wire, and I had to, you know, give me a pat for my leg and do this, and it was really tough, you know, fighting on that when you think it would be quite easy.
So when you know the ropes, you can work in Hong Kong films, but otherwise...
That's it, gotta learn the ropes first.
Now, another thing we heard about was this deal, on again, off again deal with Sylvester Stallone's company, for you to make a film. That was going to be The Executioner, originally.
Right.
What was that film going to... I know that was a pulp series, the Mac Bolan book.
Right.
And you were going to be, what, his female counterpart in the movie?
Yeah.
And why did that never happen?
Well, what happened was he needed a picture to be shot no later than November because he wanted a release for the summer. And William Friedkin was supposed to direct the picture, and the script wasn't coming along the way he wanted it. So time ran out, and there was no script. So it had to be start shooting by November 17th, and there's no way it would be ready. So what ended up happening is then Sly had Lockup ready to go, you know, and so he did that in that place. So what they did is we all had contracts to do it, you know, so they said, well, you know, instead of just, you know, getting paid, they came back with another offer and said, we'd like to option this to do it because you do want to do it. So now the plan is, I believe he's shooting Rocky next, and then possibly another Rambo, and then Execution. Or maybe Execution may go, but I think it won't go until spring of next year.
But you're definitely still contracted to make that?
Yeah.
Of all the films you made, which has been the most fun to make?
Oh, the most fun?
You're saying only Magic Crystal?
Yeah, I think the Magic Crystal was the most fun. I think because of the location shooting we shot in Greece, and, you know, that was like a dream for me. I always wanted to go to Greece, you know. It's like it was a fun group of people.
Gotcha. Of the films you made, then what is the one that you're most proud of, which you think is your best film to date?
Oh,
The next one. The next one.
tough. Yeah, who was the next one? There's certain things I like. I think I really liked Yes Madam. I think that had the most effect on me because it was my first picture and it was a really big success.
Right.
You know, and it's the first time I saw myself on screen, so I think that has a special place.
And which is the one that you least like? If we could destroy one of your films, which film would you destroy?
Is this a trick question? I know what you're getting at.
It is.
No. Actually, I don't mind any of them. Yeah.
I think you've certainly got a lot less skeletons in the closet than Sylvester Stallone has. That's for sure.
I'm sure.
Don't show him this tape though. Don't kick me. Okay, so now we'll throw the questions out to the floor. Anybody questions? Yes.
Cynthia, what ambitions have you got left?
Well, let's see. I have a good box office here in Europe and in Asia. What I want to do is hit the U.S. market, and the way that I'm going to do that is getting into more United States production and working on films. So I think what will happen is when Sylvester Stallone does this picture, anytime they need an action actress in Hollywood, that they'll call me. And for the time being, I still want to devote more into acting.
What about long-term teaching? You go back to that?
Since I've been involved in films, I haven't been teaching as much. I used to have a school in Northern California, and I really miss the fact of teaching. So what I do is when I'm in Los Angeles, I'll teach some people one night a week, just to keep it up. Because I think that's the sad part of when you're doing films, you're out of town so much that you can't have a school, and you can't come in and say you teach someone once like every 6 months, it doesn't work. So I just like to do it for the enjoyment of teaching. That's one of the drawbacks of what I'm doing now as compared to what I did.
Cynthia, how did you get started in films?
Well, actually, I was in Northern California, and some friends of mine were coming down to Los Angeles to audition. They were looking for a new Bruce Lee. And they said, well, why don't you come? So I went down anyway. And then when I was there, the director, the producers that were there from Hong Kong, they said, well, let's see what we could do. So I did what I could do, and they said, well, we got a good idea. Let's go with a woman instead of a man. And then all the guys are mad at me. They said, what'd you bring her for? What'd you bring her? But that's how it got started. Is I went on this audition, and they signed me up to do a picture.
Questions?
Do you find it very hard to get across with the language barrier? So I know that Chinese people can't even agree on their own language sometimes, with Mandarin and Cantonese and things like that. Was it very easy, or do you have an interpreter? Or
no, actually it was very difficult on my first couple of pictures because even the people that they had to translate couldn't translate the English well, and I was like, well, I don't know, what does this mean? I don't know, that's not the English vocabulary, and I try to figure it out. And plus it gets kind of annoying when people are talking and you hear your name mentioned, but you don't know what they're saying. So I decided, well, I'll start learning Cantonese when I was there, and I did, and then I got really busy. I was shooting 2 films at one time, so I couldn't take the lessons. So I think I'm at the point now where if I can understand what they're saying just by getting 1 or 2 words out of the sentence, what they're talking about. So it definitely helps. I mean, I wish I could speak it fluently because it'd be much easier. But they always have a translator there and the script, like they'll write it out to me, what it is. Because Yes Man was kind of tough because we shot out a sequence and they never told me what was prior to the other sequence. And like there's one like, okay, you go up to the office and you run down the steps. And then I found out after that I was running down the steps because I just turned in my credentials. I didn't want to be a policewoman no more. And I said, well, that would have had a different attitude, if I knew I just turned in my, but it's kind of like, oh, it doesn't matter, just come down the steps.
so when you do the dialogue, are they speaking everybody else to you in Chinese? You're doing the dialogue in English, are you?
Yeah. So the tough part is what they'll do is they'll say, okay, there's 13 syllables in the Cantonese, so here's what you have to say. Break it into 13 syllables, so when they dub it, your mouth is matching the same way.
A question about Yes Madam I wanted to ask actually, just came to mind. I've seen a lot of promotional stills, and they're used quite extensively when you were in Inside Kung Fu, from a scene when you were fighting outdoors with Long Cole and Michelle Khan's fighting using the bench, I believe. And there were a lot of quite well-known Kung Fu actors lurking in the background.
Right.
And that scene isn't in the movie.
Yeah.
What happened to it? Because it's really interesting.
Actually in Yes Madam, we shot about 3 scenes, different scenes that weren't in because the film was too long.
Really?
Yeah,
These are action scenes?
Yeah, this particular one was it was a traditional martial arts scene. We came to a Shaolin temple type of thing, and everybody was going to fight traditionally. And what happened is the film was too long, so that was one of the scenes they cut out.
It was a shame because on the UK print, the film ran too short after they cut it out of it.
Oh.
So they slapped in the beginning of another movie called Where's Officer Cuba at the beginning.
Oh.
It was a shame because they could have used one of the fights. Already filmed.
And actually the same thing happened in Above the Law. We shot a lot of footage that, they didn't use.
Interestingly, in the Chinese print, you died. And then in the English print, you survived.
Right. Yeah, well, what happened there is originally it was I died and you died, and all the lead characters died in the film.
Cheerful film.
Yeah, and they showed it in Hong Kong, and it was really a successful picture, but people didn't like the fact that we all died. They were going, whoa, 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 and they were really getting in an uproar because we all died. So they said, well, when we show it, we sell it, international, let's do it where I just get injured and then we come back and I save him, So then they had that second version, but it first showed in Hong Kong, and they didn't have the intention to do it over, but it was just from the reaction of the people.
The people have spoken.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
What was it like to work alongside MDR?
Oh, he's really nice. I think out of all the people I fight with, he was the easiest to fight because our timing is pretty much the same. So we would do everything in like one take all the time. And we could do like a lot of moves and keep the coordination together. So I found that, it was the most easiest working with him.
Do you call him Bill or Jimmy? Because people told me they call him Bill when they worked on Wheels on Wheels. Do you call him Jimmy or Bill? You call him View.
Yeah, most people call him View, or they'll just say View.
But no one calls him Jimmy to his
No, I didn't even know his name was Jimmy until I think I saw it in your magazine, or so I said, Jimmy. I said, where'd that come from? Yeah.
Gentleman there, I think. Oh, sorry, you had your hand up. I thought you had a question.
Do you have much input in choreography?
Pretty much so. Like sometimes the director will say, well, is there any particular move that you want to do, or what do you think, or that. It seems like as I've progressed in doing films, that my input came in more. I think in China O'Brien, we had a lot of input more so because the action directors weren't like the Hong Kong action directors that they had, so we kind of put our heads together and tried to do it pretty much.
Gentleman at the front there.
In China O'Brien, I saw a preview. Who choreographed the first part, the fight scene when you're going down the alley when you meet?
Oh yeah. Two of the stuntmen from Hong Kong choreographed that.
You did a foot steer. Didn't look right. I'm not criticizing.
Oh yeah. No.
It's just that you ran with the foot, and I was wondering, was that a mistake?
I ran with the...
You ran with the punch.
Oh, I ran with the punch.
Yeah.
I ran with the punch. What do you mean?
In the beginning.
She's going to sort you out in a minute.
No, I'm not.
You get a running start.
It's just the guy was here.
Right.
You was over here.
Yeah.
And the distance was too great. And you ran. You threw the foot.
Right, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, no, I would say that was due more to the angle of the cameraman. Didn't catch that at the right angle. Because sometimes you're doing moves and they may look good for real, but on film it doesn't. And sometimes you do something like when I first went over there, I had to do a roundhouse kick a funny way. And I went, oh, that's a funny way to do a roundhouse kick, And they said, yeah, but it looks great on film. So I said, okay, fine, because you know more than I do. And then when I saw it on film, it was much better than the traditional way of doing the roundhouse. So sometimes you just got to kind of go with who's doing the action and trust their instinct and what it is.
The rest of the fight scene was excellent.
Yeah,
just for that
I know what you mean. Yeah, the guy, I know it. And then there was a kick back from behind. Yeah.
It kind of broke it because the tension was brilliant.
Yeah.
That was fighting. That one foot broke it, and then you had to more or less get back into it again.
Yeah.
Questions? Gentlemen.
I've got your book. Would you be bringing out a video on that?
No, not on that. Actually, I have some people that want me to do a video, but I'm thinking about what version I want to go. I know they want a weapon to non-traditional weapon, so it might be something like that.
And I would assume that a lot of people I know, a lot of young ladies are influenced by yourself.
Oh, I did do a video. I forgot. I did a video for a company called Cybervision. It's called Send Yourself. I don't know if you get that here.
I don't think it's been distributed. Tim Ward was distributing a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
I think it's the Heel Cho tape.
Yeah, it's the the same thing, yeah.
They were doing
And
that.
it seems like they're shown mostly like on United Airlines, you know, when you go in and they have I think that's where Cybervision does their only advertising in that, and also they send it out in the mail. Yeah.
Well, we'll look into that. There might be some way to get them out. Anybody into questions?
Would you ever make a film here?
Oh, I'd love to, yeah. I'd love to. I really enjoy coming here.
We enjoy having you.
Yes. Yeah.
Gentleman there.
Again, you said about the timing and working on your own choreography for some of the fights. Do you find that you use it look forms and that benefit to you in the fights, or do you find them a bit of a hindrance?
No, there definitely weren't a hindrance. I think it helped as far as timing goes, you know, doing your movements nice and smooth and rhythmic. I think because when I used to practice my forms, I used to put 100% into the full power, you know, so that made me really strong, you know. It's definitely helped. But I think one thing that if you want to get into film, the best way to practice is like doing bag work with kicks and punches and try to develop your power and speed, especially over there, because that's what they're looked for.
I think probably a lot of people here would like to ask about that, because I certainly get a large mailbag every week with people asking me, how do I get into films, how do I get to be a film star in Hong Kong? From somebody who's already made it, what's your advice now? Say somebody sitting here says, well, I think I can do it. What should they do? Just pack their bags and go, or write films, or what?
Let me tell you, at first it was a rarity. Actually, even now, like foreigners were like the gimmick of the movie, and I think that was the first time that they used a foreigner in a lead role that wasn't the bad guy. You know, so it's kind of opened up doors. And now in Hong Kong, it's a good time actually to do pictures there, because they think that the more foreigners that they have in the film, they'll get a bigger international appeal for it. And I know a lot of people there. Now the big companies, what I would say probably what to do is if you have a resume or videotape of yourself, better yet, and send it to the companies. You know, you can see in Cinemark, they have all the companies listed, because they will look at it, and they are always looking for foreign people. Now I know maybe about 8 people that are over in Hong Kong now. Actually, there's a couple people from England that live there, and they're constantly working. They don't get like good big parts, but they'll be the villain in every movie. It seems now that whenever there's a fighting picture, if they could use a foreigner for a villain, they will so, because they've used it, like Dick Way is used over and over and over, so they want new faces, especially if you can fight good. So what these people are doing is they're living over there very cheaply, you know, and they're making more money there than they would at their regular jobs, you know, and it helps because sometimes the company might not want to pay your airplane over, your hotel, and your food. That's a big expense. But here these people are there, and all they have to do is pay them just for a salary. So, you know, they're working pretty good. Oh, but one thing though, if you do go over there, you know, you will get hit hard. I mean, you are the bad guys, so you always take the toughest part of the punishment. I mean, sometimes like I feel sorry for them, like, you know, because one of my friends is over there now, you know, and you know, it's very brutal. It's a tough field to go into.
The need to start what you do. Will you ever use that in a movie? As in just that instead of just one stuff?
You know, I don't think so, because nowadays the trend is that people want to see more realistic fighting and not the traditional. Now, the last picture I did with the director, he wants to do like, it's kind of like a Chinese epic film, just on traditional weapons and traditional fighting, which I would love to do, because, you know, not anybody could do that. You could take people that really can't fight good and make them look good in the American one, but you can't do it for traditional. Yeah, so I would love to do that.
Who's that? Who wants to direct that? Ooh, brilliant.
Yeah, so, you know, he's talking about that. And I think what has also ruined it is that on TV, they have all the old traditional kung fu shows, and they have all the old movies, so people see it for free on TV, so they think, well, I'm not going to go to the film and see it like that. You know, so that has a big effect on it too.
You did use some in Magic Crystal.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
There's one movement, like a bird kind of shaking its feathers, which I've never seen before or since. Is that in the...
Where's Chris? He wants to learn that movie.
That's a wicked one, and you that kind of wriggle. Is that like, is that for real, or is that...
Chris, can you come over and demonstrate?
Come on, Chris. Come on.
We've been doing it all all afternoon.
Chris's speciality is
actually, that move is actually because that's what Chris is saying. What are you doing? Because all the shaking and things, but it's traditional from mainland China. The eagle and snake.
I think Michael Jackson.
You're retaliating. You're getting back at me.
Michael Jackson, some of that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Any more questions from the floor?
Yeah. Do you have to be an excellent player?
Yeah, I think you have to be pretty good because if you're so-so, they probably won't use you. I mean, I've seen some martial arts actors over there that can do only a little bit, but what happens is they just use them for walk-ons. They don't have them fight. You know, so I think, yeah, if you send your pictures over there, you really got to have a good tape, you know, for them to take interest because I think, you know, they get people from all over the world that want to do it, but if you stand out and you're really good, they're looking for new faces, they'll definitely take notice, you know.
So the question is not from this gentleman here. You were asking one at the back.
Yeah, when you first started martial arts, did you have any idols you looked up to and said, you know, I want to be like him?
Yeah, actually, I always used to like Jackie Chan's movies. I used to see the old films, you know, the old Shaolin, the Snake and Eagle's Shadow, and all those movies. And actually, I came up with him instead of like a lot of people did Bruce Lee. But I mean, although now I think Bruce Lee was great, and I think he had the most screen charisma and dynamics that anybody could have in martial arts. But I always liked Jackie's movements, you know, because I kind of learned like on that same way in the acrobatic.
I shouldn't think there are any Jackie Chan fans here today, are there? Which is your favourite Jackie movie?
Oh, I like Snake and Eagle's Shadow.
Anybody else? Questions? Just lady there again.
Oh,
political question?
Yeah, it's not good at all. People are really scared, and a lot of people are trying to get out of there, especially after they had the incident in China. What happened is a lot of the people and the actors supported the students, and they sent some money over, and they were caught. And I believe that you know, Hong Kong China is blaming Hong Kong, saying that they should have done that, and they're traitors and this and that. So I think a lot of people are scared that even though China's saying, yeah, but we won't remember that when we come in and take over, but they think they will. So I know some people, most of the people are going to Vancouver or Canada up in there. It's easier for them to get visas there than it is here. Or well, I don't know about here, but in the States it's really hard.
I think Canada's like
the easiest. Yeah.
Any questions? Yeah.
How's that going to affect the martial arts schools?
I don't know. Yeah, they don't know. They don't know either. Right now, it's even having an effect on the industry now. People aren't going to the movies as much because they have other things on their mind and they're trying to get out. So, I mean, it's just nobody knows, you know, when they come in, you know, what to do. I mean, I don't think it'll stop it because, you know, China knows it's a good market and it's Hong Kong's market, but, you know, there might be some differences in it.
Jackie's known now as a director and editor as well as a martial artist and actor. Do you have any inclination to perhaps get into directing? Apart from the choreography, would you like to do your own film and say this is a total Cynthia Rothrock production? Or?
Yeah. You know, at one point I would have said no. I just want to concentrate on acting. But the more I do, and the more I get familiar with angles, and like especially like in one film that I did, I was kind of telling the cameraman, oh, I think this would be a good angle here, or this would be good here, you know, and going, oh yeah, that's right. So then you start thinking, yeah, boy, maybe I could do that. I think at this point there's no way I could do it because I don't know enough. But what I would like to do is I'd like to get involved a little bit behind the camera, maybe producing or something, or just even just watch, you know, and learn from the directors, whatever, and who knows, like maybe at some point, you know, I would like to do it. And so I did have a company come up to me to choreograph an action picture, so I said, you know, I really seriously think about that because that's also a different, you know, thing for me to do. And I like to kind of, you know, challenge yourself to do different things. And so that's interesting.
Good question. Any more questions? We'll be closing it up in a little while, so get your questions in now with Cynthia. All on camera. There, Terry, yeah.
How much time would you spend sort of rehearsing the fight scene?
Well, it depends on the budget of the picture. If it was a bigger budget picture, you would just keep rehearsing it until you had it down perfect. And that's one thing I think the difference in American pictures and Hong Kong pictures is that they'll just keep doing it. And they don't want one good take, right? They'll do it till they have 5. You know, there was one instance was in Yes Madam. I was fighting all these people with weapons, and I had a stick, and I went to turn around, and the guy came at me with the sword, fast, and he came across, and he hit me right here in the sword, with the sword here, and it's good that he didn't hit me here because it would have broke my nose, and I had a big welt on my face there, and the director's going, oh, it looks better than before, I'm like, yeah, right, my face is all swollen, and that was pretty dangerous, so, something like that, when you're doing really hard type things, they don't care if it takes all day till you get it down.
You got him back, didn't you? Because the next time you did, you hit him.
Yeah,
right?
well, what happened is, when I was doing Shanghai Express, there's this one scene where I do a wheel kick to Samo, right? And Samo had a double come in, and I would kick the guy, and he would come in too close, so I'd go over his head, so I wouldn't hit him. And Samo wasn't out in a good mood that day, and he's going, you're too far, going closer. So he'd come in too close, I'd kick over his head, and this went out about 5 times. And I'm starting to get nervous now, because Samo's going, I said, but if I'm going to hit him, if he comes in, he goes, I don't care, hit him, So so I said to the guy, I did a wheel kick really slow. I said, now look, this is where my foot is coming. If you come in, you're going to get hit, and I have to go for it this time, right? No problem. So I'm coming, my leg's coming around, I see his head coming in, whack, right in the face. The shot was great. He falls down against the table. I see this blood coming out of his ear, right? I'm like, oh my God. And I have to stand there real strong because you can't, that's the worst thing in the world is to ruin a shot, by going, oh, are you okay? And Sam was going, great, that's a great shot. Take it, that's it, right? And then one of the stuntmen comes up and says, you see that guy you just hit? And I says, yeah. He goes, well, don't worry, he's the one that hit you in the nose with the sword. Yeah.
So you actually go from film to film getting revenge then. Gentleman there has a question.
Have you had to take any acting lessons or?
Yeah, actually it's funny. When you start, you can see yourself getting better and better and better. And since I've been in Los Angeles now for the past year, I've been working out with 2 of the really good acting teachers, and I think that it's like martial art training. The better you work at it, the better you'll get. And like some people think, oh, I'm good, I don't need to practice, but there's always someone that's going to come along that's going to be better, and you can never get to a point where you can't improve. And I feel that's the same about acting. I kind of put that philosophy into anything I do, so I just keep studying because you just keep getting better and better.
Which actresses do you admire in Hollywood? Actresses or
let's see. I like Meryl Streep and Cher. Yeah, I think she's very, very natural.
Right. Question there.
Cynthia, would you like to do a non-martial arts movie?
I'd love to. It is so much easier. Like I really like when I'm in Hong Kong. I said to the actors, you don't know how lucky you are, to just be acting. I would love to, and right now I have to use the action because that's where my following is, and that's where my step is at the door. But if someone approached me to try, just an acting role, yeah, I'd definitely do it.
Hands up here, who would
Stallone film? It probably will widen the interest in you, so then widen the chances of you breaking away.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll never forget the roots anyway.
She dies them. Anybody here who would see Cynthia in a non-action film?
Oh, okay.
Oh well, that's good. That's a good show, man.
Yeah.
Michelle Carr tried it and died of death, so it's good to find out now.
It's tough. I think it wouldn't go over in Asian, because what movie was it?
Easy Money.
No. It was oh jeez, I don't know what it was. Maybe it might have been
an action film, but then
might have been Inspector Wears Skirts.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't that much action in, and people, that are my following want to see the fighting. They don't want to just see a little bit. But I think when you do American films, it's going to be definitely toned down because the American market don't want to see all the fighting. They want to see more story with the fighting. I think that's what kind of happened a little bit in China O'Brien. It's not as action-packed as the Hong Kong pictures because they try to go in the middle of the line, half and half.
Talking about China O'Brien, how do you feel about it and the sequels? They were actually filmed back to back.
Yeah.
Was it a bit like making one big, humongous movie?
I would have rather have done one.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a little bit rushed doing 2 back to back, and we would be in one location, and it'd be okay, we're filming this. Okay, now change your clothes, come back to the same spot. This is for part 2, and you're like, well, wait a minute, is this part 1 or is this part 2? Or and we all started mixing up the scenes. What is in the first movie and what's in the second movie. So it was really tough. I had 2 big scripts. We had a 6-week shoot for both pictures, 6 or 7 weeks, and every day I had pages and pages and pages of dialogue. So it was quite a a challenge for me because there's a lot of dialogue in it. And I constantly every night was there studying. So I think that was tough, and I really would not do that again. Do 2 pictures back to back because I feel it takes away from the performance and it takes away from the pictures just to concentrate on one.
Questions? Gentlemen over there.
Cynthia, do you have any plans to continue contributing articles to any of the magazines in Shanghai or anything else?
Actually, for the past maybe 4 or 5, 6 issues, I've been writing a monthly column for Inside Kung Fu.
Very good it is too. Excellent.
Oh, thanks.
Who else reads it?
Everybody read it? Oh, is it okay? I went there to do the cover, and they asked me. They said, "Do you want to do this monthly column?" And I said, "No." I said, "I'm not a writer." And they said to me, "Well, that's okay. You write the article, and we'll change it. We'll make it look good, right?" I said, "Okay, fair enough. They have not changed one word said. They keep putting it in. So I was like, so I hope it's okay because I kind of just, write like if I'm talking to someone, on what, but." Yeah, it's kind of fun. Again, I thought, I could write. Let's try it. See what happens. And it was supposed to be by every 2 months. And then, so I said, I can handle that 6 columns a year. That's not bad. And then they said, no, we're going to do it every month. You got to bring it in every month. This is after I already started the columns. So.
Gentleman there has a question.
What's your all-time favourite martial art movie?
Oh, my all-time favorite martial art movie. Let me think. American or Chinese?
Describes a Shaolin versus Lama from the back of the room in Chris's direction.
I think it was Eyes of the Dragon. No.
Black Ninja, surely.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me think. I can't say. I don't really. No, I don't know. Yeah, I don't have a all-round favorite.
It's interesting because I remember watching an interview with a guy who was an Indian actor, and they were saying, what is your, favourite film? And he says, well, the Indian industry is not geared in such a way that you can have a favourite film, that you could have a section of a film that was good and a section of another film that was good, but all the films are like grab bags of different things.
Yeah.
And I think with martial art movies, you might have a film like Karate Kid where you think, the acting there is brilliant. And then you've got a movie with very good fights where the acting is no good.
Yeah.
And it's bits, and I don't think anybody's yet made the one big film that brings it together.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe you will do it.
Yeah, maybe.
Certainly hope so. Any more questions from the floor? Okay, well, I'd like to thank, on behalf of everybody here, Cynthia for coming in and being so witty, charming and eloquent and killing us all in the seminar, those of you who survived the seminar. I hope she'll come back again, and we look forward to seeing her both in person and on the silver screen. Cynthia Rothrock.
You may have seen around the room we've got a selection, we've had this poster put up together. Now, if you want to come over in a moment, we're going to have the poster over there, and if you want to take it back over, I'm sure Cynthia will sign it to you. We also have only selected a few. I believe it's a film that Cynthia says she preferred the most, The Police Assassins 2, with some curved reference to Chuck Norris on the front. Yeah. So if anyone wants to take one of these, come and see me. I'm sure Cynthia will sign the cover for you. There's only a couple there, so it will become a nice collector's issue, but there's only a few in the box there.
Rick, let me see. I've never seen it.
Oh yeah, this is...
These are all first.
Chuck Norris' star pupil.
She looks like it.
Oh my God. Oh my God, that's terrible. I can't believe it. We loved that. That was intentional. Oh, that was intentional.
But before we go any further, let's have a bit of an announcement. If you could hang about a moment. Now, when I say this, all put your hands together. Because I think Chris has got something he wants to say. So could you put your hands together? Because he always takes the backstage, never comes forward, but if it wasn't for this guy, none of this would ever happen. Mr. Chris Alexis.
It really has been a fun experience for me. I mean, I've been having a great time since I got here. I kind of wish I could stay.